Hello, good morning, everyone. Hello, morning.
Good morning.
Yes, thank you. I can see we have a quorum. We can start today's seminar. I'll urge everyone to mute their microphones so we are all in one page. Okay. Thanks everyone once again for making the time to join us for today's webinar. It is with much pleasure that I welcome everyone. Now, today's webinar is part of our ongoing commitment to sharing knowledge and professional development by engaging, learning, and collaborating with different stakeholders. Just a brief introduction of who Liaison is before we proceed. Liaison is a non-banking financial company. We've been in service for 44 years. We started in 1981. We are big in risk and insurance, health administration, pension administration, and trust. For today's seminar, we'll dive deep into the essentials of travel insurance, where we'll be tackling the essential things to do with travel insurance. Basically, to understand different policies and coverage, the types of insurance policies we have, how to choose the right policy for your needs, and the claiming process and reimbursement process. With that said, allow me to introduce our presenter for today, who is Purity Nyongesa. So Purity, you can take over from there. Hello, can everyone hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, a minute as Purity connects on her end. And thanks once again for joining us.
Thank you, Gerald. Let me just share the presentation again. So thank you everyone for joining our presentation today. And we are going to talk about the fundamentals of travel insurance. And we'll just go straight to the policy because we want to take the shortest time possible and also to allow you to ask questions. So travel insurance comprises of two aspects. One, there's the outbound travel cover, where as a resident, for example, if you're a resident here in Kenya and you want to travel abroad, that is either in the UK, any country in Africa, in Asia, you will procure a travel insurance either for business, leisure, or any other purpose. And this is called an outbound travel insurance. For residents that are not Kenyan residents and they want to come to Kenya for either business, leisure, or any other purpose, let's say they are coming from the UK and coming to Kenya, they'll take an inbound travel insurance. And so the tourists that their country of residence is the UK, they procure the inbound travel insurance. We also have domestic travel, which is in country, and this is for Kenyan residents. For example, if you're going to Diani, let's say you're traveling from Nairobi to Diani, that is called a domestic travel cover that you will be issued with. And a condition for this is that the kilometers of travel, the distance has to be over 100 kilometers for us to be able to give you travel insurance. And so there are some underwriting requirements that are required for you to be able to get a quotation or for you to be able to get cover when it comes to travel insurance. One, we will need to know the period of travel. That is the date of departure. Let's say if you're going to the UK, we'll need to know the date that you live in Kenya. That is the date of your flight of departure, and then the return date. So this will comprise the period of cover. And then we also need the email address of the traveler, because in the event of any delays, there's information that will be sent to the insured or the traveler. So we'll also need the email of the traveler. We will also need a copy of your passport, because your passport has your date of birth, your passport has your full names, and we will also need to know information of your next of kin. Now, for most people, if you're taking an individual cover, we usually ask for the next of kin, but if it is a corporate cover, we usually put the corporate company as the next of kin, because they are procuring travel on your behalf. They are acting as a trust or a trustee in this case. And so we usually put the corporate company as your next of kin. However, it is important that when we are asking you for information regarding giving you a quotation or placing cover, it's important that you give us information about your next of kin. Now, when it comes to the pricing and how we compute pricing, this will be dependent on the destination. If you're going to any country in Africa, the pricing will not be the same as you going to a country in Asia or even in Europe, or either you're traveling to multiple destinations. And so the destination that you're going to will determine the cost of the cover. The number of days also will determine the cost of the cover. The shorter the period, the lower the quotation, and the longer the days, the higher the quotation. If you're going to a different country, the maximum that we can procure in one single travel is 92 days. So it is important that if you're going for more than 3 months, you declare that, so that we can either give you an annual cover. Because for travel insurance, once you have traveled and you're going to stay in your destination country for more than 92 days, the cover cease to exist. And so we can issue an annual cover, but only if you're traveling you're making multiple trips where you're going to a different country, you're coming back to Kenya as your country of residence, and also you are going back again to other countries. That is the only time we can give an annual cover. Still on the pricing, your age will also determine the cost. For individuals that are below 18 years, they are treated as minors. And so mostly their cost is usually 50% of the cover that we would give adults. This cover can be for individuals from 3 months up to 81 years. Individuals that are above 81 years, this will need special underwriting for us to be able to give this cover. The last one, when it comes to pricing, is also on groups travel. We can also be able to give travel for groups from 10 people up to 400 individuals. So a group can have 10 to 20, 200, 300, or even 400. And so the advantage about groups cover is that there is usually a discount. The higher number of people in the group will have a higher discount. For the group travel, what to note is that all the members of the group are sharing one policy, and so they will all appear in the same travel insurance policy. If they require a letter to go to the embassy, it means that every person's letter will reflect the other people's names. And so this is very important to note. And so we'll go straight to what is covered under the under the travel insurance. We will start with medical coverage and emergency assistance. So this is a benefit, even though please kindly mute for our members. And so the medical coverage, this is a benefit, and it is not what you have as a medical cover. It is not the same as a medical cover. This is just a benefit that is under travel insurance. And so it is not as comprehensive as what you would expect the medical cover to have. The medical extension, in this case, it will cover any accidental injuries if you're involved in any accident when you're abroad or when you've traveled. It also includes covering your medical expenses when it comes to illness. It also includes hospitalization in the event of COVID-19. And so the only pandemic that is included for now under travel insurance is COVID-19. Every other pandemic is an exclusion. And so it's important for you to note that. And then maximum number of days that is included for COVID-19 in the event of hospitalization is 14 days. So the insurer will be able to cater for your hospital bill in the event you're quarantined in a hospital, or in the event you're quarantined in a hotel. The insurer will be able to cater for the cost of the hotel, the cost for your medication while you're quarantined for the 14 days. And it's important to note that things to do with any extra things like laundry, food, when you're being quarantined, that is an exclusion. So we have medical expenses, emergency medical evacuation, that is also included in the event you fall sick and you need to be evacuated to the nearest hospital at your point of residence. This is also included. There's an emergency contact that you will be able to call. Some individuals have called us and we've given them that emergency contact and they've received help. So you just call the emergency contact. They'll be able to evacuate you to the nearest hospital. Depending on how your condition is, some people are able actually to be evacuated back to their country of residence. That is being brought back to Kenya. And so this will depend on how your condition is. So evacuation is, it can be air or even by road. And this includes illnesses or accidents. There's also emergency dental care. And it's important to note that this is all emergency. So any pre-existing conditions or any illnesses that are there before the travel, all that is excluded. We also have repatriation of mortal remains. So in the event that unfortunately the insured person gets sick or falls sick and they succumb to their injuries or the illness, the mortal remains will be repatriated back to the country of residence, and that is Kenya. And so the insurer will take care of the cost of the flight to bring back the mortal remains. Kindly, I will ask us to mute. And so the insurance will not cater for funeral expenses. So they'll just make sure that the mortal remains, the arrangement of the mortal remains in the hospital that the deceased is at is taken care of, and also repatriation to the country of residence. Emergency return home. In the event of sudden return because of loss of your family member, the insurer will be able to take care of your ticket, your return ticket, and this is the same class ticket. If you're in economy, then it will be economy. If it was business, then it will be business class. There's also daily hospital cash under medical coverage. This is where if you're sick and in hospital abroad, there's some amount that the insurer will be able to give you just to aid you recovering. And so these amounts are usually up to the limits of the type of cover that you have taken. If you've taken an Africa cover, you might find that the amount is lower compared to you taking a worldwide cover. We also have personal assistance. This is where if you've traveled and you need any assistance, either you are unwell and you need medicine to be delivered to you. So the cost that is incurred in that case, this will be reimbursed by the insurer. This will not include cost for medicine. So you go to hospital and you buy your own medicine and you want refund on that. That is not catered for. So for personal assistance, the insurer will only cater for the cost of having someone deliver medicine to you. Any other medicine that should be prescribed when you're in hospital, this will be catered for under medical expenses, and reimbursement can be done in the event you're not able to contact the emergency contact and they cater for the medical cover. You come back with the receipts and then we do the reimbursement. Hijack cover in public transport. This is still under personal assistance. So in the event you're using public transport while you've already traveled and then you're hijacked, there's a distress compensation that will be made for the number of days for every 24 hours that you are away. So this is just amount of compensation. And the insurer will need either information from the authority to confirm that you are hijacked, or information from the next of kin, or an individual that actually has procured cover for you if it's a corporate. So that is why it's important for us to have information about your next of kin. The next aspect is baggage or your luggage. So in the event that you've lost items like your passport, your ID, or your license while you're abroad, this will be catered for. So the cost of replacing these items, this will be reimbursed by the insurer. In the event you lose your luggage, that is checked in luggage that you've already checked in, any item that is lost and the airline is liable, the insurer will not be able to compensate this. So it is important that you follow up with the airline for you to be compensated. So any luggage that is lost in the hands of the airline, you will need to follow up with the airline because they'll be able to compensate you. Now, the insurer will only compensate for items that have been stolen in the event of robbery once you've reached your country of your destination. Let's say you have your items and you're robbed. It's important that you report that to your nearest police or authority. You get an OB or whatever documentation that they will give you, and then the insurer will be able to compensate that. For baggage, there is also what is compensated called luggage delay. So in the event you travel and your items are delayed for more than 4 hours, you will need to get items to help you so that will luggage. Also, what compensate in our hotel, and waiting for your luggage, all these expenses belongings. So in the event that luggage to be forwarded to you and you incur in expenses to have that to you, this also will be compensated as long as you just share the receipts of the cost and the expenses that you incur. The next aspect is personal accident. So personal accidents basically just means injury to yourself or to or injury or illness or death, accidental death. And so all this is accidental. So in the event of accidental death to the insured in the means of public transport, remember for personal accidents, this happens once you have arrived at your destination, because when you're traveling in an aircraft and an airline, in the event of death, the airline should be able to compensate you. However, once you've arrived at your destination and then there is an injury or death, unfortunately, because of the public transport that you've used at the country of destination, then this policy will be able to compensate on that. In the event of disability, there is a scale. And this scale is determined by, it is by law. And so the doctor will determine the percentage of your injury or your disability, and then you will be compensated according to that scale. We also have personal liability. So this is liability where if you're abroad, you are liable to compensate someone because there was some form of negligence on your part, which caused injury to third parties, damage to their property, and you were sued. So in the event that there is bond that is required while you are abroad, the insurer will be able to give you an advance bail bond as long as there is documentation that has been provided to the insurer to show that this personal liability was not criminal. So anything that is non-criminal, like either you are defending yourself and you need an advance bail bond required by law, the insurer will be able to issue this up to a certain limit. And so these limits also, it's important to note that they are dependent on the type of cover you will take. So there is the Africa cover, there is the Asia cover, there is the Europe cover, and there is the worldwide cover. So if you're taking an Africa cover, the limits of liability will be lower compared to taking a worldwide cover. Personal civil liability also, this is now what I've been talking about in the event you cause injury to a third party or damage to their property, and then you need to compensate them. Whatever the court in your country of destination awards or whatever you need to compensate, you provide that documentation and the insurer will be able to compensate and reimburse you these amounts. Also, legal defense abroad. In the event you need to defend yourself or at the court of law, as long as the activity or the accusation or whatever it is not criminal, the insurer sometimes and most times, they are able to provide an attorney who will represent you when you're abroad. In the event they are not able to, you will use your funds and then you provide proof that you are able to pay this amount because of something that happened when you're abroad. You are able to defend yourself and then the insurer will compensate that. Another aspect is trip cancellation and curtailment. Now, we have trip cancellation. Trip cancellation means if your journey is cancelled. And that means if I'm here in Kenya and I was traveling to the UK, I do not even board the aircraft to go to the UK. So the trip can be cancelled because either suddenly you fall sick as the traveler or the insured, or the journey can be cancelled because you've fallen sick. The insurer will be able to compensate you. So as long as you provide proof that you are not able to travel because you suddenly fell sick, either something happened in your family, there was a death of a loved one, or either something happened at work, you are recalled at work and you are unable to travel. Another circumstance is in the event you are supposed to appear in court, it's an emergency, you've been asked to appear in court, and you've known this after you've already procured the travel insurance, then, or you've already booked your ticket to travel, then this is also part of trip cancellation. So in the event that your journey is totally cancelled and you're not able to board your aircraft, then this can be compensated. It's important also to note that in the event the trip is cancelled because of your own doing, either you are late or either you forgot about your trip, then that cannot be compensated. So it has to be an emergency or an event that is beyond you. We also have curtailment. So curtailment means that your journey is interrupted. And so in the event that you have traveled, then you are recalled back because either a member is unwell or you've lost your loved one, or something happens at work because maybe it's a business travel and you're recalled back, or maybe something happens in your family, then the cost of the trip back, that will be catered for by the insurer. So it's important to note also, when it comes to cancellations, flight cancellations are not covered. And this is because most airlines, one, they can rebook you in the next flight. In the event they cancel your flight, they can schedule you to another flight, or they can compensate you in some way. And so because insurance does not allow double compensation, where the airline has compensated you, then the insurer will not be able to. However, all flight cancellations are not covered. So the only thing that is covered under travel insurance is journey or trip cancellation or curtailment, where your journey is cut short or interrupted. We also have delays and missed connections and missed departures. So one, in the event of a flight delay can be compensated if it is after 4 hours. So beyond 4 hours, anything less than 4 hours, the insurer will not be able to compensate. Other insurance companies have 3 hours. So depending on the insurance company that you will take, the number of hours will be able to be stipulated in your policy document. So for flight delay, in this case, after 4 hours of the delay, any cost that you incur while you're waiting to get your next flight, that will be catered for by the insurer. However, in the event that the flight is delayed and then at some point it is cancelled, and the airline actually is able to rebook you into another flight, then that will not be compensated. So flight delays, that is compensated as long as you provide the receipts and it is above 4 hours. Delayed departure, in the event that there's a delayed departure because of something that happened with the airline, this will also be compensated as long as it is after 4 hours. And also, when it comes to delayed departure, it's important to note that in the event it is your own doing where you are late because of your means of transport, or either you are just late when it comes to your arrival at the airline, then the insurer will not be able to compensate you on this. We also have missed travel connection. So let's say you're connecting flights from one country to another, and then something happens with the airline that causes you to miss your next flight. In the event that your airline is able to compensate you, then the insurer will not. However, when it comes to missed connections, in the event that you miss your connection because of something that is beyond you, either your means of transport to the airport or something happened in the 4 hours that you are at the airport that is accidental, that caused you actually to miss your travel connection, then the insurer will be able to book, to reimburse you when you book the next flight. So that is for missed travel connection and also for missed departures. We'll look at the claims documentation. So in the event of a claim, it's important to note that for the insurer to compensate you, there is information that is needed, either proof of some sort or information that is needed for them to be able to compensate you. So first we look at the medical claims. So in the event you are unwell and in hospital and you need reimbursement of your medical expenses, the insurer will need the flight tickets. They'll need your passport copy that shows the last exit date from Kenya, which is the country of residence. They'll need a detailed medical report just to prove that you are unwell, and then also receipts when you are in hospital, and finally a field claim form. Once this is provided for, the insurer should be able to compensate you. In the event of the unfortunate death of the insured or the traveler, and this is important to have the details of the next of kin. This is where the next of kin will provide the death certificate, the birth certificate of the insured or the traveler. There is also declaration of heirs deed by a competent court just to prove that you are the heir of the deceased. And also in the event there exists a will, there is a certification of the last will. So all this documentation will be requested for, and they'll be proved by the court of law or a competent court so that compensation can be made to the next of kin or the beneficiaries in the event of the death of the insured. In the event of flight delays or baggage delays, I'll start with the flight delay. In the event your flight is delayed and you've incurred expenses to wait for your flight, either you bought items, so you'll need to complete a claim form. Of course, share a copy of your passport, the stamp of last exit from Kenya, and also the initial scheduled flight ticket. And also, if the flight has been scheduled to another time, you also need to share the new ticket that you've been given or the rebooked flight ticket so that we can be able to tell the delay and prove the number of hours that it was above 4 hours. And also, we'll need a letter from the airline confirming actually that the flight had delayed. And also, we will need receipts of the incurred expenses so that we can be able to compensate you regarding those receipts. We also have baggage delay. So in the event that your baggage has delayed, most of those items, the forms and most of the things that I've mentioned will apply, like the claim form, a copy of your passport, and then finally, when it comes to baggage delay, the thing that you need to send is receipts of the incurred expenses. Maybe you bought items while you're waiting for your baggage or your luggage. So it's important you provide those receipts so that we can be able to compensate you. We also have trip cancellation or journey cancellation. So in the event that your journey has been cancelled, it's important you notify the insurer. We will also need documentation to vouch for the trip. Either your residence in Kenya caught fire, surely you cannot be able to travel. In the event the car that you're traveling in to go to the airport broke down and you are unable to travel, you'll need to provide photos or proof that actually it broke down. So we'll need just documentation to prove that your journey has been cancelled, and then that can be compensated. We will also need invoices for paying for the trip and the air ticket, because if you are to travel tomorrow and your journey is cancelled, it means you had already paid for a trip. If you're going for leisure, you had already paid for a certain cost in a hotel and also a ticket for the airline. So you just need to provide an invoice for those, and we'll be able to compensate you. Also, invoice of cancelled expenses. So any expenses that you have you had for in advance and you have had to cancel will be paid for by the insurer as long as you provide the proof. And also a duly filled claim form. Finally, we have the exclusions. So I'll just go through most of the exclusions under the benefits that we have. And they apply in all benefits. However, I'll just mention in each. To medical expenses or medical assistance, in the event that you go out, you travel, and there's a pre-existing condition, and you traveled with that condition, if you're hospitalized, this is an exclusion. Either an illness or a chronic illness, this is an exclusion in this policy. In the event you're traveling abroad for any treatment that commenced prior to your journey, this also is an exclusion. So this will not be catered for under travel insurance, but you need a medical cover that will be able to cater for any of your pre-existing conditions or any treatments or illnesses that occurred before the start of your journey. In the event of any form of rehabilitation treatments, this is excluded. Any form of vaccinations or immunizations, if you need this to be able to travel, or if you are abroad and you need this at your country, then this is not catered for under travel insurance. The only pandemic that is included and covered under travel insurance as at now is COVID-19, and it is up to a maximum of 14 days quarantine. However, any other epidemic or pandemic that is not known or has not been declared yet, that is not covered in this policy. In the event of pregnancy or childbirth, while you've already traveled, this is also an exclusion. The only thing that will be covered in this case is if a pregnant individual travels and within the first 26 weeks of them in their travel, they have an emergency, an accidental or an emergency or an illness, then that will be catered for. But any form of pregnancy and childbirth while abroad that is not covered, it should be taken under medical cover. In the event of traveling because you need to treat as I've already mentioned, let's say you're traveling to India, cancer, this will not be taken care of under the travel insurance. So you will need to have medical cover that will cater for that. I talked about repatriation of mortal remains. So expenses, funeral expenses for the deceased are not taken care of by travel insurance. So the travel insurer will only pay for repatriation of the mortal remains until they land to their destination, and then the family takes over from there. Anything that is a criminal act, war, any natural phenomena like earthquakes and floods, while you're abroad or while you've traveled, that can cause injury or death to an individual, this is not included. Any form of terrorism is also not included. In the event you travel and you're involved in an extreme sports, like hazardous sports abroad, skiing and all these things, and they cause injury to you, then the medical expenses bit of this policy will not take care of it. In the event of suicide by the insured or the traveler, this will not be taken care of by the policy. In the event of any form of intoxication or drugs or any form of mental illness, this also will not be taken care of by the travel insurance policy under medical expenses. So some of these things are standard exclusions under the travel insurance cover, but you will note that most of them, especially when it comes to medical expenses, it's important to have a medical cover that is comprehensive and can take care of all these illnesses or ailments. In the event of personal accident, I'll just mention some of the things that I've not mentioned up there under medical expenses. So in the event of injury as a result of a medical procedure, so you traveled abroad to do a certain medical procedure or a surgical procedure, and then it causes injury to your body, which is not by accident, it was pre-planned medical procedure, then in the event it causes injury to your body or further illness, then this will not be taken care of by this policy. As spoken about extreme sports, and also finally under personal accident, a passenger in an air navigation helicopter or an aircraft that is not declared that it is a passenger paying aircraft, then, or it's a public transport, then if there's any illness or injury to you or there's any death, then the policy will not be able to take care of it. So this policy only pays for public transportation. For personal liability, in the event that you breach the law and you are sued and you're taken to court, then this is an exclusion. So we said that it only needs to be non-criminal activity. We have also trip and journey cancellation. In the event of an epidemic, the policy will not be able to compensate you because the trip has been cancelled because of a pandemic or an epidemic. In the event of non-emergency medical treatment. So you booked a flight, you were scheduled to travel, and then you just decide that you need to go and be treated and not take your trip, then the refund of this will not be taken care of by the insurer. In the event of anxiety or any form of mental illness that will cause you not to travel or to cancel your trip or your journey, then this is not catered for by the insurer. I've mentioned in the event of pregnancy or childbirth that will result to you not being able to travel unless it is an emergency that is between 1 and 26 weeks. That can be taken care of as an emergency. However, any form of pregnancy or childbirth that is not an emergency, that is not taken care of. In the event your trip is cancelled or your journey is cancelled because you are late to arrive at the airport, also this will not be taken care of by the insurer. Finally, we have a flight delay. So in the event that your flight has delayed and it is caused by a natural disaster, then the airline should actually be able to compensate you in terms of rescheduling you to another flight. And so since the airline is expected to do this for you, the insurer will not also compensate in this because it is double compensation. So where the airline or the carrier has already provided alternative transport in the event of a delay, this is also not compensated. Where you are not able to check in on time because of the traveler's own doing, either they were late or they forgot, then also that is an exclusion in this policy. And finally, we have our emergency contacts. This information is usually on most of your policy documents. It's actually on all policy documents. And so we will urge you to go and look at this, especially when you procure your travel insurance, because when you are abroad, it's important to have this emergency contact. There's a WhatsApp chat where in the event you need evacuation or you need any medical assistance, you just text that number and they'll be able to get back to you. This is a 24 hours number. There's also an email address that is there. However, as your intermediary, in the event you are unable to reach these people, which is high unlikely, it's important also you get to us as liaison group so that you can receive assistance and get assistance. And this comes to the end of our presentation today. And something about liaison group is we have been keen in making sure that all our clients are able to receive services within minutes, just at a click of a button. And so we have our online portal where if you are unable to get us, maybe it's at night and you need to procure travel insurance, we have quickie.co.ke that it's an online platform where you can be able to procure your own travel insurance. Yes, quickie.ke. We will just share that shortly when we are receiving the questions and we are getting questions, so that also you can be able to log in by yourself and just look at the platform. It is a very easy platform to access. And so we will encourage you that you can be able to fill in the information. You put your age, your name, your passport details, where you're traveling to. A premium will be shown on how much to pay and the payment details. And then the travel document will be shared to your email address once you've made the payment. So it's time for you to ask any questions and we'll be willing to answer. My colleague Nicholas will help me on that. If we have any questions on the chat. Or anyone has a question before we end? You can raise your hand and my colleagues will see and will be able to answer all your questions. Yes, Clara.
Hi, thank you very much for that. I just have a clarification. If we have a medical cover currently running, and you also mentioned the medical assistance that would be within the cover, would it be advisable to still get something additional for medical, or would that be sufficient if you're going beyond your medical cover area of coverage? For example, if you're going to the States, would it be advisable to still have something else over and above the travel for medical? Thank you.
Thank you, Clara, for that question. Yes, there is no, we can never put an amount to human life. And so because of that, when it comes to medical, you can still procure another medical cover. Because for travel insurance, it only aids you in the short period that you have traveled. And also, as I explained, it might not be sufficient because it is up to a certain limit. Also, as we've noted, it does not cover for any pre-existing conditions or any illnesses prior to the journey. It only caters for accidents or emergencies that you might have or face while you're abroad. And so it's important to have a separate travel insurance, a separate medical cover that will come in in the event of these eventualities. Yes, Patricia Kemei.
Thank you so much, Amy, for the presentation. It was a good one. I wanted to know, for purposes of visa, is there a different category of temporary insurance that you could offer before the visa goes? Because sometimes it doesn't go through and you have to keep doing cancelling. Is there that provision for temporary insurance just for visa purposes? Just so that you get a visa, then now we actually activate the actual insurance order. Do you have that provision?
Yes, so we used to have that. We used to provide a letter so that you go, a confirmation letter that you're on cover, so that you go and get a visa and then we will get cover once that is approved. However, we got to a place where the embassies would log into the travel insurance portals and confirm if the cover is existing or not. And so that's why even before you travel, we decided that because the embassies must log into the portal most times and confirm that you have cover in place. So we usually just give you cover. In the event you're denied the visa, we can cancel, so that also the embassy not getting the travel cover in our portals does not deny you the visa. But the major issue on that end was because of the embassies. They would log into the portal and want to confirm that actually a travel cover exists.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other question? There being no other question at this point, we want to thank you, our clients, for creating time to come for this presentation. We really value your support. And for any information, as Liaison Group, we are willing to even come to your offices and take you through the presentations and provide any information that you need when it comes to travel insurance and any underwriting issues. Also, when it comes to claims processing, kindly just contact us. In the event there is a challenge, we will also be able to assist you in completing the claim forms so that you are able to be compensated. And so thank you very much, and have a good day.
Thank you.
You are allowed to
Bye-bye.
leave.
Okay, I hope you'll share the recording or the PowerPoint.